Well, thank you, friend. Shabbat Shalom. Greetings to you all. What a holiday season it was. Now, I love seeing that amazing light from the last few days of Hanukkah, a holiday derived from the Hebrew word chanuk, meaning to dedicate. And it's not just about the rededication of the temple, it's about the dedication of your temple, your heart, to love, to mercy, to kindness, to light, and to sharing the light. And folks everywhere are now finished with Merry Christmas celebrations and are turning their attention to the next milestone as we now get ready to say goodbye to the year we are completing. And to some, it was a very strange Twilight Zone kind of year, while for others, it was a chance to say goodbye, better times for the world ahead, and say Happy New Year. And I hope that the coming year is better for each and every one of you, whatever you happen to believe. Now remember, the past is not the future. You can each set your intention on the year ahead and create it. I'd like to say thank you to Justin for your kind comments and suggestions the other day, and I hope you enjoyed your holiday time with your family. You know, it's funny that we think we are winding down the Festival of Light as light increases in our lives. There's always light coming into your lives, my friends, and there are always miracles. And keep making lists of all the miracles in your life and add to that list every day. You will be amazed how many miracles you take for granted, we all take for granted. And I want you all to know that I have met so many wonderful families and friends from so many varied and different places on this trip. Therese and Melissa, a mother and child reunion. These two are the shining examples of a mother and daughter and the love and support that comes from family. They will always have a special place in my heart. Roman, celebrating his bar mitzvah, surrounded by 35 family members who gathered from far and wide just to be with him. Stephanie and Scott, renewing their marriage vows after 25 years, getting closer each year, not further apart. Yocheved, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother, 96, in the guiding light of a dynasty, loved by all in her family. Thank you all for allowing me to celebrate the rededication of the temple with you all and to end the year in such service, and for reminding me of the greatest miracles of all, the miracle of friendship and the miracle of love. And in the spirit of love, let us once again take a quick moment so we can be thankful for the miracles of our lives, our health, our happiness, our families and friends, and the great love that envelops us and everyone we know. And let us send out energy to help heal all those in need of healing and renewal at this time of the year. It's very important that, we get together and put out as much energy as we possibly can. It is the time of hope, of miracles, of light. So sending goodwill, love, peace, and thanks. It's such an easy thing to do, to transmit energy to everybody you know in need. For Richard, for Mush, for the sweet honeybee. So think of those in need and call out healing for them. Kindness, healing wishes, goodwill, and love you all send out circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each and every one of you. Misha Berech Avotinu Makor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach, let us all have our spirits renewed. Apropos that the Parsha for the end of the year be called miketz, at the end. And it's the end of the year. It's a fantastic title for something, and it's been, I think, since 1978, since the last day of Hanukkah and the last day of the secular year coincided. So it's pretty good, and I love when things come together like that. So this is miketz at the end. It was at the end of 2 years from where we left off that these incidents now occur, and we now see what an amazing Baal Ha'alamot dream master Joseph actually is. And friends, this parsha is about time and money. and memory, not money. Time and memory. Two items inexorably linked. Joseph has been in Egypt quite a while. He's worked his way up to being Potiphar's trusted second. And when in prison, he worked his way up to being in charge of others. And we are told during the butler and baker incident, they stayed a good while under guard. So suffice it to say, many, many years have passed. And numerology plays a large part in biblical Hebrew. Letters and numbers are the same symbols and were and are connected in many, many ways. Now, unfortunately, you sometimes have to try and figure whether years and numbers are real or used for their numerological significance. 40 days and nights of the flood, 40 years of desert wandering, 400 years in Egypt. And I'm sure you notice that there are amazing numbers in the entire dream sequences. So make sure you look at the numerology of the dreams. His were 12. The prisoners were of 3. And the next set, probably the most memorable in the Bible, is 7. And each of those numbers, 12, 3, and 7, are very important biblical numbers. And that could take a whole lecture in itself, so we'll leave that for now. But take a look at that. And we begin to see more repeating patterns. We've seen them in the karmic payments. And I'm sure some of you even noticed last week that the butler and baker dreams paralleled Joseph's twin dreams. The butlers involved harvesting grapes instead of wheat. The bakers oriented to the sky above with birds instead of celestial bodies. This book has so much. And when the patterns emerge, they point to major events. Life-altering, like the double name calling. And friends, there have been places where someone is called and they answer, "Here I am." Always look carefully. It is the secret formula for life-altering events. And that occurs a lot with the life of Joseph. Now, last week ended with the butler not remembering to help Joseph. And it takes Pharaoh's dreams to get him to remember. And we will see remembering is central to the larger story of Joseph and his brothers. When he sees them again after more than 20 years of separation, the same crucial verb of memory, zakar, will be invoked for him. And the complicated strategy he adopts for treating his brothers is a device for driving them into a painful process of moral memory. Now, it's also a key word in what will be the fourth commandment. Remember the Sabbath day to sanctify it. Zachor et Yom HaShabbat l'kedsha. And we are introduced to all of this through dreams. Fly me high through the starry skies. Maybe to an astral plane. Cross the highways of fantasy. Help me forget today's pain. Oh, dream weaver, I believe you can get me through the night. Oh, dream weaver, I believe we can reach the morning light. And it is about dreams, my friends. This whole thing is all about dreams and dream interpretation. Genesis 41:1. And it happened at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed. And look, he was standing by the Nile. And look, out of the Nile came up 7 cows, fair to look at, and fat and flesh, and they gazed in the rushes. And look, another 7 cows came up after them out of the Nile, foul to look at, meager in flesh, and stood by the cows on the bank of the Nile. And the foul-looking, meager-fleshed cows ate up the 7 fair-looking fat cows. And Pharaoh awoke. And he slept and dreamed the second time. And look, 7 ears of grain came up on a single stalk, fat and goodly. And look, 7 meager ears, blasted by the east wind, sprouted after them. And the meager ears swallowed the 7 fat and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and look, it was a dream. And it happened in the morning that his heart pounded. Friends, a double event is a biblical clue. Joseph had a double dream that altered his life. The butler and baker had dreams the same night and altered Joseph's life. Pharaoh has a double dream that not only altered Joseph's life, but did more to give rise to the development, practice, and survival of Judaism than any other event. And maybe Joseph's descent to Egypt was a miracle that resulted in survival. Now, how many of you remember your dreams? Not only the events in them, but the images, the colors, the emotions, each a great clue to its meaning. Now, Pharaoh remembers, and we are told the emotional effect. His heart pounded, and in biblical Hebrew, it's his spirit. And he seeks the interpretation, and we welcome back Joseph, once again raised from a pit. Genesis 41:14, and Pharaoh sent and called for Joseph, and they hurried him from the pit, except this time it's as a grown, mature, faith-filled, spiritual individual. Genesis 41:15, and Pharaoh said to Joseph, I dreamed a dream, and none can solve it, and I have heard about you, that you can understand a dream to solve it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, not I. God will answer for Pharaoh's well-being. It's not Joseph who will interpret. He will simply relay God's message. Pharaoh recounts the dream. And Joseph said to Pharaoh, Pharaoh's dream is one. What God is about to do, he has told Pharaoh. The 7 goodly cows are 7 years, and the 7 years of grain are 7 years. The dream is one. 7 meager and foul cows who came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 meager ears of grain blasted by the east wind will be 7 years of famine. What God is about to do, he has shown Pharaoh. Look, 7 years are coming of great plenty through all the land of Egypt, and 7 years of famine will arise after them, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine will ravage the land, and you will not be able to tell there was plenty in the land because of that famine afterwards, for it will be very grave. And the repeating of the dream to Pharaoh 2 times, this means that the thing has been fixed by God. But Joseph does not stop here. He has explained the dream, and now he will provide the solution. Now, how many of you welcome unsolicited advice? Most people just don't like it. Genesis 41:34. Let Pharaoh look out for a discerning wise man and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this. Appoint overseers for the land and muster the land of Egypt in the 7 years of plenty, and let them collect all the food of these good years that are coming. Let them pile up grain under Pharaoh's hand, food in the cities to keep under guard. And the food will be a reserve for the land of the 7 years of famine, which will be in the land of Egypt, that the land may not perish in the famine. Well, thank God Pharaoh's ego did not get in the way of unsolicited advice. He not only liked the suggestion, but he knew that he had found his man. Joseph was about to save more than one nation. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. He was a boy of 17 when he was taken to Egypt. He's been in prison for 13 years, almost half his life. And he will accumulate the plenty for 7 years, which will take him to 37 before his brothers enter the story again. And so 20 years will have passed, a year for each weight of silver they sold him for, and enough time passed that they would not think he could be alive. But his memory is far greater than theirs. And the famine grew harsh in the land of Egypt, and all the earth came to Egypt, to Joseph, to get provisions, for the famine had grown harsh in all the earth. Genesis 42:6. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down to him, their faces to the ground, kind of like the dream. And Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, and he played the stranger to them, spoke harshly to them, and said, "Where have you come from?" And they said, "From the land of Canaan to buy food." And Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Yes, this parsha is about memory, my friends. Given the importance of the recognition theme and the verb to which it is linked, it is fitting that the fact that Joseph's recognizing his brothers should be repeated, along with their failure to recognize him. Yes, the world is sacred, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, and be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other, we share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. And please do. Learn to forgive, learn to love, open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy the journey. Take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our efforts to grow, to learn, to love, to be. So please do love. Send healing, goodwill, and love to all who need it. Share your holiness with them. Now, bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a fantastic celebration, a week of light and love, a week of peace and healing for you to honor the people of your life, honor the journey you are on, honor yourselves. Friends, keep your eyes open to what you may not be seeing. Keep your ears open and listen to the world around you. And remember, this is an organic book. The lessons, the laws, the ethics, the ritual may change a little with the times. It's how it stays current, relevant, new, meaningful. It continues to provide us with insight and answers after all these thousands of years. Remember, we do set in motion all that happens in our lives. Our intention, our cause, our effect, everything is linked, right? And set your intention for the year ahead. And as I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You do have that knowledge of what is good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you have wronged, and then ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Use the week of growing light to practice forgiveness. It's an easy thing to do, and it is the key mechanism of the Torah. Do not stop your journey, my friends. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. It is in sight. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading your holiness. Do not follow fear. Fear holds you back. Follow love. It's always right in front of you. And again, this week we do say goodbye to the miracle of returning light, but it never really ends. Light is always there. Miracles are always in our lives. And remember to have faith. An unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and all of you. And I will certainly remember all of you, my new friends. And I think we all need to just keep focusing on all the things we remember. I'll remember you when I've forgotten all the rest. You to me were true. You to me were the best. When there is no more, cut to the core. Quicker than anyone I knew. When I'm all alone in the great unknown, I'll remember you, and I'll remember each and every one of you, my friends. Now, thank you all for joining me, for participating, for sharing your lives, your love, your time with me. Happy New Year to you all. I love you all. Look forward to seeing you all next week, next year. Be well until then. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye.